as you can see from the title of the video, this is a process from getting a day one B7 untouched, unmodified, and you're actually looking to figure out what to start with maintenance before you start moving up to modifying your car, because you do want to get it into a good state and before you start modifying, just to avoid some, well, let's just say errors along the road. Let's actually go inside and talk. Let this thing warm up. We'll come back to you. Sit down on the funny bone. So we're gonna start off with basically stock to KO4. The whole process, I don't know what those hand movements were, but this is the first take. So let's just start off with that you bought a B7. This is your first one. It's a 2 liter. We're going to be talking about 2 liters specifically this entire episode. We'll do either a 1.8 or an S4 depending on the demand. So if you guys want to see that, comment down below. So we're going to start off with day one maintenance. These are the things to check on when you first get the car before you start modifying, because you want to eliminate these rooms for error over time, just so you don't run into that, oh, I'm modifying my car, I finally got the part on, now something broke along the lines of, along the way of it. So let's start with that. So these are things to check on as soon as you buy it. Check the coil packs for corrosion. Right here is actually a set of OEM style ones that you can pick up through FCP Euro. I highly recommend ordering through them just because you get that lifetime warranty. If one of them cuts out, then you could just send them an email, send them back that one, they'll send you a new one. No extra charge. You're gonna check the spark plugs for oil, but this should be just kind of inclusive when you do an oil change when you first get the car. So change out the spark plugs as well. The next thing you should do is a compression test. You can pick up a kit at AutoZone for 15 bucks probably, or you can go over to your local mechanic and they'll test it for you. That's something you should definitely check on. Make sure the motor is healthy before you start modifying the motor, because that would stink to dump money into this car and then, well, motor's on its way out. That's definitely not ideal. So if your cruise control isn't working, check your pedal switches. As you can see right here, here's one for the clutch switch for the manual cars, as this is what controls the cruise control for manual cars. I believe on the automatics, it's the brake switch as well, but either way, you can pick them up. They're really cheap to get, so might as well replace all of them when you get them, just because when you're underneath there, it can be a little bit tight, so do it all at once. Just get it out of the way. Next thing is you want to do your cam follower. This should be inclusive with the oil change as well, just because, well, it's nice to have the car running fresh, and you should be changing these out every 4 or 5 oil changes depending on how the life and the health of the motor at its current state. So take that into consideration. Here's one you can get from FCP Euro. There are going to be some other ones that are 16, 20 bucks. Don't buy those. Those are third party and they most likely won't last long. With these parts that are that critical to the motor, you want to get something that's OEM from Audi, just because it's designed for that car. So pick up an OEM one, trust me, it's worth it. Especially if you get it through FCP Euro, you can just change it out again, so don't worry about that. So the next thing you want to check for is your timing chain. This is located on the back side of the motor where the valve cover is, as well as the high pressure fuel pump. If you hear a slapping noise, like literally like a bike chain, then you probably want to look into getting that replaced. A lot of people are able to do it themselves if you're a little bit more mechanically inclined, but if this is your first time working on a car, I highly recommend a professional doing it. You can even talk to the shop to see if you could able to purchase the kit through FCP Euro, just so you're able to get that lifetime warranty, but some shops might not be cool with that because they're trying to make a profit off the parts as well. But either way, expect this to be a very expensive job, because there's a poly driver bolt located on the back side and it's known for stripping. Once it strips out, you're gonna have to pull the motor out and drill out the cam. Not fun, so definitely have a professional do this. Next thing you should check out is all your ball joints and bushings on your suspension, which I'll be getting down into later, because after all the maintenance that we cover, I'm going to be talking about where to start when modifying your car, just because it seems to be a clearer path and you're going to be happier along the way with the mods that you currently are having. So check all your ball joints and bushings. If any of those are damaged, well, replace those, but we're going to talk about more about that later, so don't just buy anything quite yet. While you have the car jacked up, you can actually look to see if your axle boots are torn. The way you can tell if your axles are going bad or just one of the sides is if you turn the wheel all the way to the left or the right, and you hear clicking. Or if you're driving and doing a full 180-degree turn and you hear clicking, it's most likely your axle is going bad. So you can actually just use a Napa one if you'd like. I don't really find them to be any different at these points. If you're going to be loading your car and driving it, these things are going to rip and break. You can replace just the boots, and it's really messy to actually be able to take the boot off and put it back on, but it's a lot cheaper. Just you have to make sure you have the right tools and the knowledge skill set to do so. Another thing you should check on that's definitely overlooked on is your snub nose mount. Here's actually one you can get off ECS Tuning that's an upgraded one, and honestly a fairly decent price because the OEM ones are notorious for crumbling. These ones are a lot sturdier. Definitely recommend on day one. Another thing to check on is your motor and transmission mounts. Here's one you can get off of Euro Tuning, and it's 034 brand, or 034, sorry. Both of these motor mounts and transmission mounts I've had on my car. They're great. So those are just day one maintenance things that you can check up on by yourself or with the local shop if you have a little bit of time to spare. Highly recommend getting these things taken care of if anything is damaged or worn out or needs to be done, just because, well, you want to start off with a clean slate with building these cars. Just get it all out of the way because I guarantee you it's going to happen. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Definitely check your PCV valve. Another thing you could do to test it is have your car on at operating temperature at an idle, and then you're going to open up your gas cap while the car is running, and you're going to measure how much suction is based off the gas cap. It's a kind of like a little trick you could do. You want a little bit of suction, but if it feels like it's pulling really hard, it's most likely your PCV valve is going bad. And you can actually get one right here through FCP Euro. Wow, so this is pretty neat. I got that continuity camera going on. So we just finished talking about the motor and transmission mount. Now we're gonna move over to replacing some of your fluids. Well, it was kind of part of the maintenance, but here's just some specifics in case you missed them. So you're gonna do an oil change. That's gonna be with spark plugs, oil filter, and then possibly the coil packs. A coolant flush, you wanna use the Audi's specified, I think it was G12. You can get it at Napa. You want the coolant to be pink. Basically, you can buy one that you have to mix yourself, or you can buy a pre-mixed one. I recommend getting just the own bottle of itself and mixing it yourself, just because you can have extra and you can dilute it depending on how much you want. If you have any leaks, you know what I mean. Engine flush is optional, so if you know the last owner didn't change the oil very frequently, or if you take off your valve cover and you see that the top of the cams are just horrendous looking, do an engine flush. It wouldn't hurt to do. You get all that gunk out of there, so that way you can do an oil change, your cam follower, you got new spark plugs, coil packs, your motors are going to be super happy, along with like a PCV valve if you need to replace that. Those are all the fluids you're going to need to be doing. Brake fluid, optional. Check on that, but you should be fine. All right, next we're going to be talking about mechanical maintenance. So the cam follower, the water pump, and timing belt are usually, you can get a kit off FCP Euro. When you're doing your timing belt, it's really easy to remove the water pump, so it never hurts to replace that. That's going to be part of the actual coolant flush you're going to be doing anyways, so kind of do all at once. The fuel filter is something that's definitely been overlooked on. If your car is having like a rough idle, or if you're getting some codes that there's fueling issues, a lot of the times replacing your fuel filter, it's really, really cheap to replace it. You just want to have kind of like a tub to catch a little bit of the gasoline and swap it over. Really simple, it might fix some of your problems, and it's also something really good to have, especially if you have a high mileage car and you don't know if it's been done yet. Next, if you are having any coolant leaks from the backside of your motor, most likely it's going to be a coolant flange, and these parts are notorious for failing on B7s. They're kind of a nightmare because sometimes you can actually get a brand new one and it still leaks, so definitely not fun to have. So the coolant tank, if you see yours is leaking, or if you have any the coolant tank. If you see any leakage or if it looks grimy and gross, replace it out, because a lot of that stuff's going through your system and it's just going to get worse. So again, recommend doing that when you do your water pump and cooling flush, just because all that system is going to be drained. Just make it look fresh. It's going to be nice to have. Now that we got through covering most of the maintenance stuff, if you are new to the cars, hopefully this information was useful to you, but now you're probably wondering, like, okay, where do I start with modifying, and what would be a reasonable path to make sure you're happy for a longer amount of time with what you're able to buy currently. So you're probably wondering, where do I start? This is just my personal recommendation. that I found to be most happy with, and a lot of other people seem to be really happy with. But it also helps with some of that preventative maintenance long term. But also you're going to need it once you do start to upgrade the car, just because, well, you're going to want an all-around reliable build, you know. I definitely recommend starting with your suspension, just because a lot of the times when you get these cars, they're going to need certain things to be replaced, and you can actually substitute those out for the performance parts you're going to need later on. So I would recommend going BC Racing coilovers or Bilstein as well. Those are probably the top two best bang for your buck. The BC Racing coilovers are nice just because they have adjustable dampening, and the Bilsteins don't have that. I'm sure you can get a set that they do have that, but they're going to run a little bit more expensive. But BC Racing, probably the best bang for your buck. Even though I don't have them, I highly recommend them just because I've heard a lot of good things about them. While you are doing your coilovers, you're going to need to be removing the entire strut and the system from the car as well. So that means your upper control arms are going to be removed in this process. They might need to be replaced. So this is a good time to throw in adjustable upper control arms. Here's a set from SPC that I have on my car, and what's nice about these is that each side you can replace just one side. So if the ball joint goes out, you can just replace the ball joint for like $40-50 and just order that part and not have to remove the entire system again, which is a complete pain. So definitely recommend doing that. You can get a lot of adjustments in caster as well as your camber when you lower the car, so that way you don't burn through tread, and you're going to get a much more aggressive stance for when you get wheels put on. You can have a lot more flexibility with how you want the car to look, especially if you're trying to go really low. Then, well, you can dump it and you can add a lot of camber. But if you're looking for something a little bit more performance oriented, these are a huge plus. They're a little bit expensive, but the initial cost is definitely better than replacing arms over time entirely for a couple hundred, and you can just do it for 40, you know. So kind of weigh that in. It's definitely a good investment to have, especially while you're in there. The 034 lower control arms, just because, well, again, you're going to be removing the suspension, and if your lower ball joints are really worn, then this would be something good to replace as well. That's actually what I'm going to be throwing on my car pretty soon here. I'm just waiting for Black Friday to show up. It's definitely a little bit expensive, but it's peace of mind. All right, so if lowering your car isn't enough for you, then, well, here's a little bit of insight on what you can do for a little bit more budget friendly just before you start lowering your car and getting into performance mods. So what you can do is you can actually get this CTS turbo test pipe off of CTS's website. It's going to give you a little bit more sound, a little bit more torque, maybe a little bit of a horsepower increase, but obviously a tune is going to actually make those numbers a little bit more noticeable. So just take that into consideration, but this is mostly for sound. When you do install this CTS test pipe, you do want to actually take into consideration that you will be getting a check engine light. If you throw this in your car might be running a little bit rich as well. So that's why it's important to get a secondary O2 spacer. This is going to help most likely ditch that check engine light so you don't get one and you fail an inspection. Well, actually, you will be failing inspection because your car wouldn't pass smog. But don't sell your cat, because you will be having to throw that back on when you do have to get the car tested. But yeah, here's an O2 spacer if you need one. Actually, you will need one. Based off of reviews, this one was on Euro Tuning, but it's out of stock right now. So find a different one somewhere else. Just try to find one that other people have used on the B7. The last thing I could recommend that's really cheap to do is $40. It's just a cone filter. Instead of actually buying a whole $450 ECS intake system, which they do look really nice. However, a cone filter is still a cone filter, and it's not going to change anything about that. The heat is going to be different with the heat shield versus without, of course, especially with running a test pipe. The engine bay is going to get a little bit hotter. But you can pick up this cone filter from O'Reilly's for like $40. If you go down to my valve cover and PCV system video, I actually show me installing it and how to do it. You basically just take the MAF housing, shove it onto the filter, boom, throw it on. And I got a $75, I think it was, eBay heat shield. And then you can just do your custom exhaust wrap on your test pipe and then throw a little bit of protectant on the heat shield as well, and you should be golden. It should be almost nearly the exact same as an ECS intake, in my opinion. But either way, the stock air box is going to be the best performance one out of them all, even with a KO4. I just use the cone filter during the winters and the colder months just because, well, it's boost season and the temps are going to be running a lot lower. But once summer comes on, I actually throw back in the stock air box just because I don't want to be running a hot air intake and the car won't be running very well. Alright guys, so that was everything I could provide from day one maintenance all the way up to what to replace, and then some performance mods if you're looking to get a little bit of extra fun out of the car, especially because when you get a new car you want to modify it, so that's kind of the fun part. But maintenance is definitely overlooked. It's definitely important as well, and it shouldn't be passed up on, because there's nothing worse than modifying your car and then sure enough something breaks either same day or a couple days later. It's definitely a letdown. Put these maintenance items first, and I guarantee you'll be a lot happier with the process of modifying the car and won't have a lingering voice in the back of your head telling you, hey, this might happen. Hopefully everything you saw here was beneficial in some way. If you guys have any questions, please comment down below, and I'm happy to answer them to the best of my abilities. Or if you guys have any other insights you guys would like to share that you have experienced, I'm gonna go film the next part of the video. Well, actually the next video. I got some new parts for the B7 to get it running again. I got an Audi R8 fuel control module. I'm gonna be replacing my boost line filter because that's gunked up with oil, and then replace a little bit of a hole in it so that I can actually get correct boost readings, because apparently my motor is running fine. But thank you guys for watching, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Have a good one.